Hi everyone, in this video we're going to talk about GraphRAG, one of the techniques we can use to add knowledge to the context of a large language model prompt. I'm first going to explain what a graph database is, then we'll talk about how we can use a graph database to create the GraphRAG solution, and finally we'll jump into some code to look at a demo AI app I built with GraphRAG so we can see the theory in practice. If you're not interested in the coding part of GraphRAG, you can probably skip the second half of the video, but for those interested in the code, we'll walk through it, and as usual, I'll post the code to my GitHub account so you can dig into it on your own and get further into the details. With that, let's get started. So what is GraphRAG and when would we need it? I assume you know what RAG is, retrieval augmented generation. The RAG concept is that we dig into our databases or document stores and pull out the grounding data that's most relevant to a user input, add the retrieved content to the LLM prompt, and then the LLM can use the grounding data to help generate a more informed answer to the prompt. There are two common RAG approaches most of us are probably familiar with. Number one is storing vectors used for concept similarity search. This is very common in answering factual questions about PDF documents. And number two is direct database queries. For example, answering questions about recent orders placed by a customer when the data is stored in an ERP system or a data warehouse. So these techniques work great, but they're less effective when relationships between data entities is very important. Think about an LLM that needs to answer questions like which physicians performed which procedures for which patients in which facilities, or identifying what current contracts for network equipment have net 30 terms. These types of questions are usually difficult to answer with either similarity search or relational database queries. So when the questions are which data entities had which actions or have what relationship to other data entities, graph data storage is at the top of the list. So there are a few notable graph database technologies we can leverage for graph data storage. For example, Neo4j or ArangoDB and Amazon Neptune. So graph databases have been around for a while and they have many uses in addition to AI GraphRAG solutions. So this leads us to GraphRAG. So GraphRAG does kind of what it sounds like. It enables us to surface data within a graph database to an LLM for use as prompt grinding data, or RAG data. We use GraphRAG similar to how we would use a relational database with RAG. We query the graph database for facts that answer a user's questions and provide it to the prompt. So that part's the same. A business example might be extracting key facts from purchase contracts and then storing them in a graph database so the relationships between contracts and terms are easily queried. Think about a user asking how many service contracts have best price guarantees and cover professional services. If our graph database stored contract and professional services as entities and best price guarantee was a contract attribute, we could easily pull a list of contracts where the subject area list includes professional services and the best price guarantee property is true. So a final point, GraphRAG is often combined with other RAG techniques to improve accuracy. For example, maybe we have questions about contracts that meet all the criteria mentioned before. We could use GraphRAG to get the set of contracts that meet the filter criteria, then use a vector similarity search that only includes that specific set of contracts, ultimately leading to a more accurate response. Okay, so now that we're on the same page on the concepts, let's put this into practice. So to keep things kind of light and fun, for this video, we'll build a GraphRAG AI solution that can answer questions about movies, directors, actors, and genres, and we'll call the app Cinegraph. So I'll be using this sample data file of 100 movies. It's a CSV file, and there are actually some many-to-many relationships in here. For example, a movie can have multiple actors and genres. We'll capture those relationships when we load the data into the graph database. The graph database will index along these known entities: movie, production company, person, and genre. And movies have relationships to people. So those relationships can be like directed, as in a movie was directed by Sam, wrote, as in a movie was written by some production company, or acted in, as in Robin Williams acted in some movie. So movies have relationships to genres as well. So a movie has a genre comedy, or a movie has a genre drama. So we'll capture that in the graph database as well. Here's the deployed architecture for this solution. In my lab, the entire solution is deployed as 4 containers in a Docker Compose stack. You could adapt the code to your own architecture and host some or all of it in the cloud if you prefer. So first, we have the LLM deployed as a container. We'll use the LLM to analyze user questions to determine which entities and relationships they're asking about. We'll also use the LLM to generate a text response that incorporates the GraphRAG grounding data. So we've deployed this as a local Llama 3 18B instruct model in FP8 quantization. And second, we have the Neo4j deployed in a container. This will run the graph database for us. Next are the backend and front-end services. The backend is a fast API REST service that leverages the Llama LLM and Neo4j to answer user questions, while the front end is a Next.js web app that has a single chatbot page. The user uses the React app to ask a question about directors, movies, or actors in natural language. The backend uses the LLM to break down the question to match what the user said into entities and relationships. And then the backend queries the graph to get grounding data. Finally, the backend sends the original question and the grounding data to the LLM to have a natural language response generated. Okay, so let's look into the code and we'll try the app. Okay, let's start going through the solution by looking at the data first. So here's our source data. This is like 100 rows of movie data. It's from IMDb. So I have an IMDb title ID over here. I have original title. That's the title of the movie. The genre I care about. So we're going to look at that. Notice this is a one-to-many relationship. There's more than one genre. So I might want to say, which movies are in the database that have, romance. I should get Forrest Gump, and drama. I should also get Forrest Gump. So you get the idea. Director, we're going to be asking about. Writer is going to be in the graph, but I'm not going to ask about that. Production is the same. So the actors, I can ask about that. So most of these movies have a lot of actors. You can see there's a big long list up here. So we're going to want to be asking questions like which movie starred Leonardo DiCaprio and was directed by Christopher Nolan, and it should tell us Inception and if there are any others in here as well. So that's why we want to use this this kind of a database, because it makes it very easy to ask this question. So we've got a lot of actors and description. We'll use that for some keyword searching. So I'll ask, kind of a question about what movie is on this concept, and it will realize that I'm asking about a keyword. So it'll look on the keywords. And then I didn't use these fields in the solution, but that's our data set. And I think before we look at the backend code, let's look at the end result. So this is the app that we're actually going to be using, or that the user uses. Make that a little bit bigger. And you see it's just a chat bot, so I can type in questions down here. But I preloaded a few demo ones just to make the demo go a little bit quicker. So I'll ask this first one, which crime movies is Joe Pesci in? Would have been better, but my grammar's off. Doesn't matter. The LLM will figure it out. And so what's going to happen now is the LLM is going to analyze this question. It's going to kind of figure out that crime is a genre, Joe Pesci is an actor, and then it will hit the graph in order to find out which movies. So we can kind of see here we have an LLM generated response. So it found. I actually have it outputs the GraphRAG content here, so I can double check that. So this is the GraphRAG found these two movies, which is accurate for this small data set. And then this was, once it got the RAG content, it went around and asked the LLM to create this output. So it did that. So that looks pretty good. And then the third part I have on the page is just for my purposes. I just want to see, how many were my prompt tokens, completion tokens. The term extraction was calling the LLM to ask it to figure out what the user is asking about. So that took like 1.7 seconds. The GraphRAG, this is kind of significant. So the time taken to query for the RAG data, 0. It's so fast that it doesn't even show up and down to 100th of a second. So it's super quick. And that's a nice thing about a GraphRAG versus maybe, relational joins. And tokens per second, 24. So it's not great, but on a Spark system is actually fine. And then the time taken for final completion. So this is going to the second trip to the LLM to generate the response. So that was like 8 seconds. So overall, 8, 9, about 9, 10 seconds to do a response, which is kind of okay. All right, so that's where we're heading. Let's just take a look at the solution and see how the code's put together. Actually, let's take a look at first our Docker solution. Our Docker stack looks like this. So we've got the LLMs running in this container, Neo4j is running in this container, and then we've got a backend and a front end. And if I look at the, this is like the memory used by the front end on the CPU memory. And then on the GPU side, I'm using like 51 gig for LLM storage. So that's not bad. All right, let's see, move that out of the way and let's look at the code, because I think that's the next thing we want to see. So let me bring over here. So I'm doing this code in Cursor, which is, Visual Studio Code fork. So we can see in here, we've got backend, front end. There is a Docker Compose file that'll be in the source code if we want to read through it. But, this is the Neo4j is running a container that's pre-built for Neo4j. So that was nice. I didn't have to install that myself. It's kind of cool. And the LLM is running in an image that NVIDIA publishes that for serving models. So this is the model I'm serving here. It's NVIDIA's version of Llama 318B. And the backend service is here. This is a custom Docker container that has the API on it, and then the front end is a custom Docker container that has Next.js, a couple volumes, networks. Okay, boring. Let's move on to the more interesting stuff. The backend is really where the magic is going to happen. So if I look at the main, that API chat is here. So if I look back at the front end is calling API chat. So as soon as you, or as soon as I put in the prompt and hit send, it's going to call API chat. So let's just kind of walk through what this is actually doing. I'll skip over some of the error checking, but come down here to try. So the first thing it does is it's saying execute GraphRAG query. All right. So that means take the question. So the original question. So which movies is Joe Pesci in, etc. And that's not really GraphRAG ready yet. So, but let's dig into this and see how that's being turned into something an LLM can, or that the LLM can turn it into something that GraphRAG can use. Yep, let's close that. So let me just go to that. And so what's going to happen here, it's going to take the question in and it's going to call the LLM client, which will call Llama 3.1 to analyze the query. And what returns is, you can kind of see here what's the query type, the analysis, token usage, and the time. And the analyze query, jump in there real quick, and this is a prompt. So essentially saying analyze the question, and it wants to output this output in this format. So we're going to get back, did they ask about an actor, a genre, and so on. And then you can read through this, but this is just kind of basic LLM processing. So that's what's going to happen there. And then once we get that analysis back, and I'm printing this out to the console, we'll try to take a look at that in a minute. Then the next thing that's going to happen is we're going to go and hit the hit the graph database to go and find that. So let's say what we just asked about was an actor and a genre, right? So our question was that over here. Our question was what crime movies. So we're looking for genre crime, and we're looking for Joe Pesci as the actor. So we're going to hit this part here. And then now we get to see the GraphRAG piece. So this is the query for Neo4j. So, and you can kind of see the syntax is, if you're used to SQL, is very different, but it's kind of intuitive, right? So it wants to match where the actor acted in some movie, and that movie has to have a genre of, and this is going to be crime. So this is Joe Pesci, this is crime, and then this is what to return for all matches that are found, and then it orders by the vote, descending order. So it doesn't really matter because there are only a couple of them. And then there's just some print statements down here. So that's going to execute that and return it. So if we go back down to where the calling point for that was right here, right there. So what we're going to get back is like a list of movies that matched that genre for that actor. And then that's going to be returned by execute GraphRAG query. That's going to go back to main. Right, so right here. Boom. And then now we want to generate a natural language response. So we're going to take that that RAG input, which is the list of movies, along with the question. So we've got question, here's the list of movies, and we're going to go into generate a response. All right, so the prompt is going to be user question and the question. So that question was, if you recall, which crime movies are Joe Pesci in? So that's the question. Based on the movie database, here are the relevant films. So this is going to be the list of films. And then it just says a text summary. Once that's done, it's going to, or once it has that question, it's going to post that over to the LM, which is running OpenAI, basically the OpenAI protocol. And it's going to send in the system a user prompt with a temperature of 0.4, so not too crazy. And I did max the tokens, so it might get cut off a little bit. And then once we get the response, once we get the result, boom, here we are. So now we've got the result, which is the text that we saw, which is the commentary. And then I also return like token usage and time because I wanted to log that kind of stuff. So then this is just getting those stats, like building those, blah, 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 blah. And then I put the commentary, matching filmography, and then the table, and then it comes back. So that's pretty much the round trip. So main does all the work. The GraphRAG query does the GraphRAG query, but first it calls the LM to find out what to find out what movies it should include in the answer. Okay, so now that we've looked at sort of how the sausage is made back there, let's just look at that log output while we run it a couple more times with different questions. So I'm going to take this and put these side by side. So actually, maybe make more sense to put the app on the left. I think we can thin that down a little bit more. And we'll put the backend console on the right. So you should be able to see some of the intermediate results coming out there. So let's just go ahead and do that. Let's do the Joe Pesci one more time. And then here's our response, same response we had before pretty much, but we can see some details back here. So the query type, so the LLM determined this is an actor genre query, and it returned the genre as crime over here, and it returned the actor as Joe Pesci, and it returned some of those stats I wanted. Then what happened is the GraphRAG client went out and ran this query. So return ta-da-da-da-da-da, and it passed it in, and then it passes in those other values. And then once those come back, we get this output. So let's just try these other two prompts. Let's try this one. Which films directed by Christopher Nolan was Christian Bale in? And if we look to the right, we can see the query that was run. So this query is a little bit different because now it's looking at a movie that was directed by a certain director, and that same movie has to also have a certain actor in order to return the query. And then it returns, similar kinds of output. And we can see that on the right-hand side, it says Dark Knight, Prestige, Dark Knight Rises. Again, the time to actually do the graph query is like negligible on the whole process. So it's one of the advantages of doing this. And let's try like the third one, which movies are about Frodo? So this isn't about an actor or about a director. So what we're hoping is that the LLM determines that this is just a keyword search, and it should just try to find Frodo in the description. So let's see what it does. And it did find them. So Lord of the Rings. So it's got the Return of the King and Two Towers. And we can see over here that it actually found two keywords, Frodo and movie. Movie, I don't think that's necessarily a keyword in this context, but that's fine. So it just says, hey, give me movies where the description is not null and the description matches a pattern, and then return these fields. So very simple queries. You can see this is so much easier than doing a lot of bridge joins and so on, and the speed is pretty amazing. So that's how that works. Hopefully that helps. So to put some visual on top of the theory, and I'll put the source code for this, in my GitHub. So look for that in the description. And I hope that was interesting and clarifies what GraphRAG is all about and how you use it. So I'll see you in the next one.